feel anchor dropping. Feels like something else, huh, Mike? It's gonna be like something else when you get home, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Flatland.
Yeah, a little different out here. Where are we at right now, boys?
Kodiak Island, baby.
Kodiak, Alaska. We're out of beer.
It's too early for that.
Yeah, but Cody's not out of vodka, though,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. A little electric Gatorade.
Hey guys, heads up. She might get a little sloppy, but should be too bad.
She might, or?
Try and miss all the big ones up there, Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah. Watch out for the tree logs, Johnny.
Yo, B, you gotta go to work. It's all good.
Uh-oh.
Welcome to the RNA Outdoors podcast, fueled by Ripcord Arrow Rest and First Light Hunting Apparel. At RNA, we are public land DIY conservationists that love to share our passion for the outdoors. So join us and our team as we interview professionals in the industry to share insight knowledge that helps make hunters and anglers more successful. Hey listeners, subscribers, and fellow outdoorsmen and women. This is your host, Lucas Paugh, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the sponsors that continue to help make this podcast not only happen, but grow and thrive in this digital world of audio content. This podcast is brought to you by Ripcord Arrow Rest, the bow hunter's #1 fall-away rest on the market. Ripcord is known for 100% full-time arrow containment and their patented drop-dead brake system that eliminates launcher bounce back. Best of all, Ripcord is backed by their rock-solid guarantee. If the original owner has a part break for any reason, it will be repaired or replaced at no charge. And did I mention? Ripcord is located in southwest Montana, where all their products are made with pride in America. Check them out at ripcordarrowrest.com and on their social media feeds. This podcast is brought to you by First Light Clothing and Hunting Apparel. Born in the Rockies in central Idaho, First Light's mission is to create simple, yet proven, versatile gear that provides comfort and performance in any situation while working to promote the pursuit of ethical hunting and stewardship. I recently joined the First Light Pro Staff team and have continued to be impressed year after year in their innovations in engineering of merino wool fabrics. 10 years ago, they started putting out wool fabrics with camo patterns, and immediately this changed the game. Since then, they offer multiple layering systems and kits in various proprietary patterns and continue to raise the bar with their competition. Find them online at firstlight.com or under their social media feeds. Go farther, stay longer. All right, coming to you from Kodiak Island, Alaska. This is the RNA Outdoors podcast, and we are sitting here on the Ninilchik charter boat, where we have spent the last 6 days chasing Sitka blacktail deer, catching some halibut, and hanging out with a couple really cool guys here on the boat. We're all going to kind of do a little introduction, but before we do that, it's pretty awesome being on Kodiak Island. This is a place that I know since I've been a kid. I've always wanted to go to Kodiak Island and just experience the island for what it is, whether it was hunting or fishing or just to see the island itself. But something else synonymous with Kodiak Island is Kodiak Brown Bears. and didn't have a shortage of brown bears on this trip. We'll probably talk a little more about that today. So anyway, I want to welcome you all to the show. We're going to just do a round robin. Everyone just kind of give a quick bio, tell us who you are, what you are, and anything else interesting about you. Mike, you want to kick this thing off?
Yeah, sure. I'm Mike Cintron from South Florida, and this has been a dream trip, and just been having a blast out here. As you mentioned, shooting blacktail, fox. We got some ducks, and just a great time.
Yeah, you kind of outside of the box. You took more than just deer on this trip.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You kind of got the full Alaska experience.
I sure did. I got some good things to hang on the wall.
Yeah.
Good memories.
Yeah. We got to clear the throat here. So, Harley Paugh, rookie podcaster, straight from Missoula, Montana. Guess I recorded the biggest buck on Kodiak Island, 4x4.
Oh, here he goes.
That's just gonna go too.
Just gonna go right for the heart.
Wait till next year. It'll be a 5x6.
Just gonna nail it.
We were stroking his ego a little bit while you guys were off the boat line.
Yeah,
I'm sure you were.
Caught a few halibut. Trying to shoot a fox. That's about it. This has been a great trip with 3 other great guys and 2 boat generals. I've had a blast. This has just been...
How big was that halibut?
The halibut?
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't very big. Not as big as my butt, though.
Let's focus on that.
Pass it to my wingman here, Cody.
All right, this is Kody Gilge. I'm coming out of Montana up here with my good buddy Luke and Har, and yeah, just fulfilling the dreams, like Luke was saying. Just ever since I was a kid, read stories about great guys up here doing amazing hunts in Kodiak and places like this, and you just think, what would it be like to be there? And finally be there and be doing it. It's really something. It's quite the island. It's sometimes, I guess, when you think of an island, you think of a small area, I guess, a lot of times, but it's anything but that. It's
big country.
Big country.
We're used to the Rocky Mountains. This is different than the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, straight up and down. Cool. And then last but not least...
Yeah, so my name is Brandon from Eagle River, Alaska. Been working for Ninilchik Charters for going on 3 years now. Run a 6-person fishing vessel out of Ninilchik, Deep Creek, Homer, Alaska in the summer. And this is my 3rd year here in Kodiak.
You're just the cook, though, right?
That's it, just the cook.
You don't do anything else.
Little skiff driving now and again.
A damn good cook. And just if there's any ladies listening, he's got a plug for them.
Yeah, so we do provide marital advice on this podcast. So anyone mid-20s, blonde, looking for a pretty swinging sexy guy who does pull-ups on the back of a boat, we'll get you Brandon's phone number later at the end of the podcast. So
that's it. Dishes clean, house nice and tidy when you get home.
That's right. So we all showed up here, and we actually got here on what day did we get here? It's been a week of Saturdays, so
We got here on Saturday and flew in on Saturday. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we dropped into, of course, Anchorage. We met up with the rest of the group, a lot of the group, and then we came into the city of Kodiak, where we dropped in for the night, had dinner, grabbed our licenses, and kind of met the rest of the group. We're actually here with Austin Atkinson, who runs a kind of a group of 10 out of Cedar City, which is Huntin Fool, and got a little invite to do that this year. And of course, have met a lot of really neat people on this trip, knew a few on the trip already, but so we made connections there. And then Sunday morning we got to Island Air and got on our little, wasn't a float plane, it was probably like a 10 person little prop plane, and flew us over the island. Pretty sweet little flight. We were able to see some mountain goats and see all kinds of different critters flying in, and then we dropped into Larson Bay, where the mayor and his cousin and his 4 other brothers that had flatbed trucks came and picked us up. It was pretty cool. Almost pretty much anyone that I think had a flatbed truck, and I'm not talking about Brandon because Brandon's got a flatbed truck too. He said, Dooley, right?
No. Just work truck during the summer.
Work truck.
I'm a Chevy guy. LS, baby. LS.
Okay. Gotcha, man. So, so we got off the plane there and got loaded up and got on the boat, and we started heading out. And it was pretty incredible just to be on the boat and thinking about, going out, hunting blacktails, trying to catch some halibut. That's always kind of a dream we all have, is catching an Alaskan halibut, right? And there wasn't much short of that. We actually came out to one of the areas and started fishing for halibut and decided to go for a little walk that afternoon. So the boys took us and we went out on the skiff and got onto the island and went for a little walk. And what did we all run into on that walk?
Well, we found ourselves some brush first thing right out the gate. Found ourselves some nice thickets, got ourselves tangled up in, and then ended up running into our first brownie, I guess, on that run home.
Yeah. Down the creek, looking for salmon. I think he winded us.
150 yards? What was he?
A little less, like 120. I think he was when we jumped him out.
Yeah.
And then
what did you think, Mike? Was that your first brown bear?
First brown bear. Very, very exciting.
Any thoughts? Did you have to change underwear? Or?
There might have been a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Kody gave me the look like, they are. It's bear. I'm like, yeah, that's good. He's running away.
That's a real one. That's not one of them teddy bears, that's it.
I tell you, one of the craziest things is seeing deer actually on the beach. I don't know, Brandon, maybe you can speak to why that happens, but we saw a pod of like 50-some deer actually literally on the beach, bedding on the beach.
Yeah. So that's actually that's not an unusual thing. They come down to the beach, usually first light, last light, low tide as well. They come down. There's kelp on the beach, and they love munching on that stuff.
Kelp, high nutrient base, probably good for them.
That's it. And they don't have any predators. Most of them have, never seen humans, so they just come down to the beach, and that's usual for them. See them swimming across bodies of water before.
Yeah.
Bedded on the beach, all types of crazy places.
That's crazy.
Different kind of deer.
Yeah, definitely not anything we're used to seeing. Deer swimming out in the ocean. We usually don't see much of that, or at least in saltwater. Yeah, so then we got to enjoy some home cooking the first night. It was pretty impressive. Normally you make meatball subs first night?
Yeah, so usually we do meatball subs, and guys did decent on the halibut catch, so we decided we'd bake up some halibut and did that. We have enough meal, if we know where to catch game or shoot game, catch fish throughout the week. But we usually like to substitute those meals with, backstrap, tenderloins, halibut, rockfish, ling cod.
Sure.
Got to do a little crab in there, so we definitely like to eat. Kodiak will provide, so.
Yeah.
How about that
night.
chowder, though? That's still kind of stuck in my head a little bit.
The chowder was good.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it.
Who read the chowder, though? Big B read the chowder.
Oh, yeah.
The boss man.
Yo, just a worker bee over here.
He's just the cook, right?
Just the cook.
Yeah, so we spent the night on the boat, and we've slept in the boat, of course, all nights, but that was a little bit of a bumpy night, but wasn't too bad. But that next morning, we motored down to kind of the west end of the island, on an undisclosed location in Alaska, we'll say, for the podcast, but got into an area where you guys all did pretty well, and actually everyone for the most part did pretty well on that stretch of the strip of the island. Unfortunate part was we couldn't stay there long because of the weather, but we got to experience some coastal blacktail country that's pretty phenomenal landscape to hunt in. And I don't know, you guys can probably talk a little bit about kind of what you saw through your eyes when we got onto the beach and got into that area. But
yeah, so I got to say thanks to you, Luke, for kind of putting your brother out there on that first super nice deer, and then I got an opportunity, and obviously Kody. It's just some nice deer. You put us first, and that was super cool. just couldn't be more appreciative.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. That, of course, when we glassed up that 4x4 first thing in the morning, it was pretty obvious that that deer, had to eat either some lead or a rage hypodermic, something. That was a really nice buck. But before all that, we ended up seeing something else, didn't we? As we were walking through.
Another brown.
Second brown bear.
Yeah, second brown bear.
I think he probably winded us, popped up over the ridge, and kind of out of sight. But pretty good sized brown bear.
That was a good sized bear.
Yeah.
He ended up coming back though. Came back and sniffed you. His gut piles.
Now you're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh no, man. He did come back, but before he came back, maybe Mike, you can just talk a little about we got you set up and we had Harley set up to shoot, but the 3x3 kind of sidelined himself.
We had that 4x4 in our sights and wanted to get Harley a little bit closer, so we split up and you guys got a better close the distance, and the buck bedded down. Sure enough, in the thick stuff, you guys couldn't see him. So Kody and I decided to go over there and kind of let you know what was going on, and we sat there for a while. And buck stood up. We thought it was the 4x4 at first. Found out it wasn't, and it was a good 3x3. And talked to Harley about it. Said, if you don't want it, I'll take them. And sure enough, I dropped them right there. And we wait.
You didn't just drop him, Mike. You laid the hammer down.
Yeah, buddy.
That 308 just walloped that deer.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
What was interesting is you shot, and none of the deer moved.
No.
I guess where we're from, when a gunshot goes off, it's like madhouse,
Yeah.
These deer kind of look around, see that one flopping around. That 4x4 finally, a minute later, hops up, looks around like, hey, what was that?
What's the deal?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good thing I was ready. We were just sitting there. Couldn't believe he popped up and just sat there broadside. It was like,
It's perfect.
all right, someone needs to shoot.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing was we had glassed him up and we had got Harley in under 200 yards to that deer. And from the time I spotted him to the time I went up like another 10 yards to get a little closer to put my pack down for him to shoot, he's just gone. He vanished. And I kept looking, glassing the brush, couldn't find him. Looking in the alders, couldn't find him. And sure enough, he bedded down. And that's when you guys came over and let us know that he had bedded. And I figured he'd bedded because I didn't see him blow out of there. But once he stood up, Harley got the old 6.5 on him and gave him a ride too.
Yeah, I'd say the 300 Weatherby, one bullet took.
Yeah.
Knocked it home, which was great. I mean, thank Mike too as well for allowing me to kill that. I want to say one thing. I mean, even from guys on the boat to us four, it's been a team effort, 100%. It's been so much fun. Just we're all pushing for each other, and I know that we slayed the deer on the first day, and we've still hunted the last 3 days. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but it's just been total team effort. It's been a lot of fun and much appreciative. Didn't know Mike from anything, and now I consider him a friend, so it was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, we hammered 2 deer right there, and then there was still that 3x3 bedded that we glassed up even first thing before those other deer.
Yep.
So Kody got a little hair going and made his little stock.
So I put a little bow stock on him, and it didn't go so bad.
No, it didn't go so bad.
I was able to kind of work in on him, got to about 30 yards on him, but didn't have any kind of a shot, just head, and trying to get ranges on him and trying to look for lanes, and he ends up, I don't know if he just saw the other deer that had moved out or what he was doing, but when he decided to walk up around that hill or kind of whatever, I had to readjust and able to get a quick range on him. And
he'd been laying in that brush, right? At the bottom of that brush.
Yeah, he'd been there for a while.
And 2 gunshots went off, and he still didn't even move. And we still had time. You left and skirted around. He was like, he's still there.
Our other buck had moved out behind him because I had to stop and let that buck walk over the hill, the one that was up above him.
Yeah.
And then those other deer started moving. I think that was when he started to decide to go. But able to get a range on him and
that was
get a shot on him.
definitely impressive stock, and the persistence. You went after him. That was pretty cool.
It worked out. I was excited. That's what I came to Kodiak for. Was beautiful, good-looking representation of a blacktail. And
Yeah.
all I could want. So
Yeah. So, I mean, at that point, we'd know we'd had 2 bucks down. Cody had smacked 1, so we took care of those deer, and we packed 2 deer off the mountain that morning, and came back to shore. And actually, I think Brandon or Johnny might have a little bit of story for us. It might be a little bit of humility what happened, but when you went to take Johnny for a little walk.
Oh, yeah. So we were going to skiff in on the beach there, and lo and behold, the skiff stalled out when I went to go put the bow into the waves, and good little wave came and flipped that baby upside down. So little arm strength into it, got her flipped back up, and rowed back to the boat there.
You were pinned underneath the skiff, weren't you?
Oh, briefly, yeah.
It's cold water.
Cold water, yeah. Good practice to jump in every week, so I make it a fact to do that once or twice a week. Get in the boxers and go jump off the swim deck there, and you don't want your first time hitting the water to be when it counts. So,
oh yeah.
Well, that was after you took Cody and Luke back to shore because they were headed back up.
That's
Mike
right.
and I stood on the boat, exhausted from bringing those deer down, but
Yeah.
peek around the corner and I'm like, Johnny didn't get dropped off. Oh, what the hell's going on? Oh my God, he's got an oar out.
That's never a good sign.
yeah, the beach, it can be nice one moment and absolutely nasty the next. You know, we have the second biggest tides in the world in Nova Scotia. Where I fish out of the summer, we get 26-foot vertical feet of water moving in and out in a 6-hour period. So you time it, the beach might be nice, and 30 minutes later when that outgoing tide starts and it's bucking the wind, waves pick up quick, and yeah, that's quite common.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, coming in, it's always kind of a wild card when you get off the boat, kind of timing the tide, getting off, making sure you can get off safely so you don't end up catching water. Or that's just always something you got to be mindful of when you're getting on and off those skiffs. So
Part of the technique of the whole every trip out to the mainland. I mean,
Yeah.
first day I think we
Timing your exits.
timing the exits. I didn't.
Yeah.
I got water up to
Well,
my
it kind of
shins.
changes on each beach too. If it's rock or sand,
Yeah,
if you're
sand.
jumping onto something, or
Depending
you're just
on how
trying to
close
get
you
up the
can get.
beach, or
yep.
but,
Yeah, so then Cody and I went back on that same general area and continued to hunt, and we were able to get back on that deer that you had stalked, and we were able to find him, and you were able to get him arrowed and done. So that was cool. Yeah, we glassed him up.
it worked out good.
We also glassed up a ton of other deer, and then I was sitting on top of that saddle ridge as you were working on your buck. I was sitting there watching the brown bear that come back. We saw that morning feed on the 2 carcasses that Mike and Harley left. So it was pretty impressive watching him probably close, I'd say, 1.5 miles in about 5 minutes as his nose is in the air, and there was a crow leading him right to one of the gut piles. But it's just incredible watching those bears move through that landscape and how fast they can move. It's incredible.
Dominate it.
It's
Absolutely
incredible
dominate
an animal that big can move so fast. So yeah, we had a good stay there. That was like being spoiled where we got to hunt the second day. But
Yeah, one of the things that stuck in my mind that I was surprised I wasn't expecting, I did a little bit of research, and what I found was they said that those deer are about 150 pounds or something like that. And some of these deer were 300 pounds. I mean, that was incredible. Just huge body deer.
yeah,
I had no idea.
huge layers of fat.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the Sitka blacktails I've seen have been big. Like the more mature bucks, they're big sized bodies. Just big
Incredible
throat
amount of
patch.
fat on them.
Yeah, incredible amount of fat.
Yeah, I'd say that was the Disneyland trip. But then I think we headed to the county fair.
Yeah, well, I think we went to where most people actually probably hunt and experienced actual true blacktail country in alders and waist to chest to head high brush and stuff that you just got to break it for like 4 hours till you can actually get to actually start hunting. Never really experienced anything like that before. It was a little bit irritating at first, and you realize, well, I guess to actually get to the deer, this is what you got to do to get up there. Brandon, maybe being a local, you can shed a little light on, kind of the tactic it takes to do some of that type of hunting.
Oh, yeah, well, for sure on the island there's Rosebush and Devil's Club, and, you come in October and the vegetation is definitely thicker. You get a couple snows and deer start getting pushed down and vegetation starts falling. So pretty much, like you said, where we started out at the beginning of the week, it's coastal, and that's Shelikoff Strait that borders that. So it's nothing to get 40, 50 knot winds and 30, 40 foot seas out there. So those constant storms rolling through definitely flatten down the terrain and just get beaten down, and you get into the more nooks and crannies of the island, and definitely you can start running into the Devil's Club that's got rose spines, rose thorns all the way up it, and definitely a good set of leather gloves is needed for hunting this island.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so then we got to experience some of that country, and just spent, like I said, it was, I think the day trip that we took us 4.5 hours to get up just to where we could actually get to a point where we actually could start hunting.
That was on Monday.
And and then from there it was like we had hunted most of that day, and I think we saw more brown bears than we saw deer that day.
I saw 3 times as many brown bears as deer.
Yeah.
So 7
bears, right?
Yeah.
7 bears, 2 deer.
A lot of beautiful country up there. Incredible.
Oh, it's incredible up there. Just the green and just all the little bumps and rolly hills and areas that are, very conducive to hunting. Just for whatever reason, we just didn't see a lot of deer up there, and it was the perfect landscape for it. But I'm not sure what the deal was, other than, well, we saw a doe and a fawn, so it was a pretty slow day. But we did go throw some crab pots that night, which was kind of fun, and we did all right. We got enough crab for a couple meals. We were able to have the famous crab Benedict for the morning breakfast the following day, which is one of Brandon's signature breakfasts that he makes.
That was the first time we dished that one out for you guys. Usually me and Johnny keep that one for after you guys get off the boat, do a little hunting. We break out the crab we pocketed the night before and cook us up a little breakfast.
Oh, that was excellent. What did we catch? 14, 15 crabs?
18
crabs?
Dungeness.
Yeah, Dungeness crabs. We threw out a couple pots and grabbed some crabs, so that was cool.
How about that algae going on, that luminescent algae? That was something else to see, wasn't it?
That was a trip.
Yeah, so we
pretty unique.
Got all the boys there on the back deck and had Johnny kill the lights back there, and at night there's a algae in the water, and when it's irritated either by the skiff motor or the just happened to be the twin Cummins motors off the Delta boat, 42-foot boat we're on, killed all the lights on the back deck, and Johnny was motoring along there, and as you go, it's pretty neat. The water glows green and blue, and you can't capture it on film or video. It's something you just have to enjoy, take it in, but pretty neat.
Which is kind of another cool thing about being out here is, there's not a lick of cell service anywhere. I mean, you can't really talk to anybody. You can't call anybody. You can't check out what's going on in the news. There's obviously some emergency type communications that can be had, but generally when you're out here all by yourself, and you're not touching base with work. You're not thinking about what's going on at home. You're here enjoying yourself, and I think that's part of what makes this experience what it is. Because we're not plugged into the rest of the world. All that stuff will happen, and we'll come back, and the world will still be the world, and things won't change. So, which definitely makes this pretty cool. So, yeah. So, I mean, we've got some halibut, we've got crabs by now, we've got a few deer down. You guys all had bucks down. Austin's group, they were getting through, and I think they got most everybody a buck, and I was still out there just trying to find something to sling an arrow at, and we spent the last few days hiking the top of ridges, getting above alpine, and just not seeing a lot of deer. And it was just, I mean, it was just getting to the point where, thinking like I say, we'd come from an area that just had, high densities of deer, lots of pockets of bucks, and to areas that there was clearly deer in there, we were just not turning them up, or we weren't seeing them like we were, the first few days that we had hunted. But Mike, you were able to get out and get your Harlequin?
Yeah, so before that, Johnny, the captain here, he spotted a red fox, beautiful red fox on the beach. I think that was like the day before.
Yeah, I think it was.
In the morning. And I was able to put a stock on him and got a beautiful red fox, so I was real stoked about that. Then Johnny put me on some ducks the next day. That was amazing. I got a nice drake and a hen. I'm going to get those, mounted. Beautiful, beautiful ducks, just gorgeous ducks.
Yeah.
Color on them was beautiful this time of year right now. It's great. So.
And this is the only area you can hunt. Is this the only area the Harlequin ducks you'll find them, Brandon, or?
I've found them multiple places, from Kodiak City over here to Larson Bay.
Okay.
And they're some places are thicker than others, but definitely I haven't been too much to the east side of the island, but definitely from Kodiak City around Ozinki and all those areas, there's plenty of Harlequin and old squaw, goldeneye, all those type of sea ducks, and get into puddle ducks once in a blue moon as well.
Pretty neat ducks. If you're a duck hunter, not a big duck hunter, got a stamp but didn't do any duck hunting, but
This fox up there are pretty unique too, not just your usual fox. It's quite
we had that silver
phases.
tip the first day, and
seen some cross foxes, some silver tips, and reds, and everything in between. Pretty unique country.
For the trapper and you got to love seeing red foxes like that.
You just don't see color phases like that when you're down in the States. Fox like that's 1 in 5,000 kind of fox, so when you start seeing color phases like that, it gets me excited, but it's all good.
Yeah, you launched a few arrows. We launched a few arrows at a few foxes this trip.
Yeah, we sure did.
We saw a lot of foxes, a lot of them on the beach, typically where we saw them hanging out, trying to call them, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, so what else? What else have we done since then and now? Caught some halibut. Harley's been pulling some halibut off the bottom of the ocean. Haven't had a chance to do that yet, but what's the biggest fish we've caught?
What were those ones? 40?
Yeah, I'd say 40 to 55 pounds.
Or did we ever get a weight? We were trying to get that scale going. It was all.
Yeah, we did it by the length of the fish. Supposedly one would have been 46 and one would have been 50-something pounds.
Oh, that's what I thought. Yeah,
okay, based on the length. Okay. Yeah, the other boat the first night, man, they sure hammered the halibut.
They did. We got a few 60-pounders, I think. Yeah, real nice fish.
Yeah, we decided to hunt that day, but we still got a few halibut on the boat. Had some nice halibut steaks, a couple meals.
Some lean cod.
Had Big B roll some of that up, roll some bacon around it, throw it on the grill. So, yeah, good food. Brandon, maybe talk a little bit about just Ninilchik Charters and kind of what you guys offer, kind of the time of the year that you guys, run your operation. And,
So I don't by any means deal with the booking, but this is going on my 3rd year working for them, and plenty of work to be had. We transport for Kodiak, just to make that clear, so we don't guide for big game. We guide waterfowl, fox, all that stuff. Deer, brown bear, all that. That's all either, resident draw or over-the-counter, resident, non-resident. So out of Homer, starting in middle of April till end of May, we do black bear hunts out of Homer, and weather pending, go out in Kachemak Bay, headed towards Seward. Lots of streams, lots of creeks, lots of black bears around there. Fishing kicks off middle of May, beginning of May, for Ninilchik location, which is where I run out of. Do winter king, or end of winter kings into May, and halibut's just starting up, so we'll do that through May, and we run a total of 12 or 14 boats. We operate out of Homer, Deep Creek, also known as Ninilchik. We operate out of Seward. We operate on the Kenai River and also the Kasilof River. So a little bit of everything, little transporting, little fishing, halibut, lingcod, salmon, whatever's biting.
And then later part of the year, you guys do your Blacktail Charters in.
Yep. So we start, typically into September, around the 1st of October when it goes to any deer, and usually the first part of October, if we have any goat hunters, that's when they'll come out. So Johnny and myself, the first week, we had 4 residents that came out, and they stayed on the mountain for 2.5 days and had a little luck with some goats, and we stay here pretty much till the middle of December, transporting for hunts, and clients, weather pending, obviously fly in on Saturday morning and typically fly out Friday morning to Friday afternoon, weather pending.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you guys have definitely taken good care of us, and fed us well, and made sure we got a nice warm place to sleep every night. So that's definitely appreciated. I know from my perspective, I don't always sleep that well on a boat, but last few nights, I'm sure I'll sleep pretty good tonight. So anyway, today, just to kind of cap off our trip today, we decided to take a little walk. We went back to kind of a coastal area that we had hunted the first day, I guess, that we went for a little hike. And first thing right out of the bat, we got into some deer. We saw some deer up on the ridge. We saw some deer pushing up from the beach, and we're just kind of sitting there glassing. And I don't know, maybe 30-45 minutes into our trip, and Kody, you can kind of maybe explain a little bit about kind of what you started hearing.
Yeah, it was, we had kind of been focusing on these deer up on the hill, and Lucas had kind of seen a nice buck that he was trying to focus on, and so we were kind of paying a lot of attention as we were moving up, kind of through the alders, trying to look to get a better view at him. And while we were doing that, it pretty much I just heard off to our left. I heard something that was pretty quiet, but it kind of sounded like it's like a woof, kind of like a bear does, I guess, but it was pretty quiet, so my head was wasn't 100% sure of what I heard. But yeah, so anyways, I heard that, and then I heard some stuff breaking, and I'm sure you guys did too about that, and realized that whatever it wasn't going the other way. She was coming right at us. So about then was kind of when I started realizing that we had ourselves a bear problem coming real fast. And so yeah, I think at that point I pretty much just said, guys, I think there's a bear coming, and Lucas and Mike both just were like spot on, just got the pieces out, everybody got set up, I stepped back, cleared the way, and the wind was coming kind of straight at us, I think, is why he couldn't smell us, and in those alders I'm sure he could hear us, so that was what got him going. But yeah, it got real fast. That bear got in real close, real quick, and he was probably at like the 10-yard mark, somewhere in there. And I think I think everybody was getting ready to just unleash hell on him. And I started yelling at him, and we all started yelling. And at that point, he kind of popped his head up and figured out what was going on. And it was kind of one of those moments where I think one more step and a lot of leads going down, and a lot of shit was going to go down. But
yeah, it wasn't going to be good for him. Yeah. Hopefully him, not us. But yeah, it was pretty touch and go there for a second, huh, Mike?
Oh yeah, I mean those alders or whatever they are, I mean they were just moving. I mean it was coming straight at me from my perspective where I was. The bushes were just moving, and I literally one more second, and it would have broken the plane where I had maybe 5 yards of clarity in front of me, and that was the line where it would have been done.
You'd already drawn your line?
Yeah, that was the line. And fortunately, like I said, Kody said he hollered at it. We all kind of started hollering, and I saw its head turn, and
swinging.
We saw the brush and stuff breaking in the opposite direction, so that was a huge relief. But very exciting adrenaline rush there. It was crazy.
Oh yeah.
Really gets your heart going first thing in the morning. Gets your blood pumping a little bit.
Did you guys, when you were thinking about this trip, have any concerns with bears, or think about, I mean, that's what everyone dreams about, is coming to hunt a brown bear on Kodiak, right? I mean, that's kind of a bucket list item for a lot of people. But did you at all think about it, or was it in the back of your mind?
I told a few people, before I left, I told a few people, kind of half kidding and half serious. I was like, if I don't come back, maybe I got mauled by a bear or something, you know, because it's definitely a possibility out there. It's can definitely happen.
Sure.
So.
I mean, Kody, you've hunted brown bear before.
And I think honestly that's the only thing that helped. I don't know, for me, I've been around a few bears and seen a few bears to the point where I have a good respect for them, but I've never had any sort of, I guess, troubles. I've had close encounters like that and different things, but where, it just seems like if you're smart about things, for the most part, that seems to work out. But it does add another element when you're you got these deer down and these bears just seem to be on them like it's like they're smelling a ice cream cone or something. They catch a whiff of that stuff, and it's just incredible to see these bears come at the rate that they do. And a person just needs to really have their head on a swivel up here, I guess, if you are going to be doing this. It's a real thing. I mean,
it's definitely not out there is not a good place to be doing it by yourself. And I came to do it out here by myself, and that was a big eye opener for me. And I couldn't be more tickled to death to be with these group of guys here that I'm doing it with. So,
I was hoping to run up on Winnie the Pooh bear.
With his hand in a honey pot.
That wasn't going to happen.
No, when you think about the apex predator on this island, it's definitely the brown bear. And, we hunt in areas that have bears and wolves, but I don't know, it just felt different being here, just knowing that the density of bears and just kind of knowing that, you're not the top of the food chain out there, and that the brown bears here definitely are. But I don't know, Brandon, you guys probably hear a lot of different stories from hunters. You've been here 3 years. You probably hear all kinds of stuff. People come back. You think about the miles people walk and the things they see. I bet you guys hear all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah, we could tell stories for days. We've definitely had a handful of guys have to shoot them, and, as what we refer to as DLP, Defense of Life and Property. Sometimes the gunshots like the dinner bell to them. So guys, worst thing they say you can do, and they line you out even at the airport in Kodiak City before you fly out here, is never drag out a deer, just giving that bear a solid line straight to you, and definitely nothing to mess with.
No, it's something I definitely have different respect for now after being here, and would definitely be cool one day to actually be able to hunt one of those creatures. But it's just different when you're not only hunting, but you're also potentially being hunted as well. It just kind of makes it feel a little different when you're out there. So we had that little encounter this morning. It just kind of got all of us on high alert, if you will. I think it took me about 30 minutes to get my heart rate to come down after that had happened, because I wasn't expecting on having to draw, and actually be ready and locked and loaded. And I looked over at Mike, because I'm left-handed, so I was like this looking over at Mike, and he was right-handed, and we were both ready to pretty much go if it was going to hit the fan. But fortunately it didn't happen. So he ran off, and I think we all checked ourselves real quick, checked each other to make sure we were all okay, and just kind of continued just kind of marching up. Kind of worked the face of that mountain and saw push deer as we were going up, and I was actually behind both of you guys walking up, and you guys had pushed out just a small little 2-point forkhorn, and so he was a buck and he was legal, and I hadn't killed anything yet, so I was able to actually work my way in a couple different times. I got into about 80 yards, and then he kept moving out, and kind of got over just a little bit of a slight bluff that I could close the distance on, and got into about 65 yards, and he didn't even know I was there. And he was pushing a couple does and was able to sink an arrow in at 65 yards, and he ran about, maybe 30, 40 yards.
Straight downhill.
And piled up and had good blood, found the arrow, and so that was cool. That was cool to put a tag on a Sitka blacktail with the bow. I was pretty pleased to do that, and so we got him cleaned up and worked out, and we were kind of skeptical on what we wanted to do because we wanted to continue hunting. We had a few more tags to fill, but we were concerned about leaving, the deer. We boned the deer out, but leaving them on the mountain like we did. But, we were pretty safe with what we did. We wrapped it up. We kind of buried it a little bit, marked it, and didn't have any problems. considering we left the carcass, what was left of the carcass, probably 150, 200 yards away from the actual meat where we stashed it. So we kind of continued on hunting, getting up, above Alpine, and actually proved to be pretty good. We actually saw quite a bit of deer up there.
Yeah, we did. I mean, right off, as soon as we got up there, we started seeing the deer, multiple bucks up there. Just trying to decide, come up with a game plan.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much everywhere we glassed on both sides of that upper clearing. I mean, there was deer on both sides, on the face and also on the backside. And that, I guess Austin would call it Christmas tree landscape, but it's kind of that just green, really soft green
berries.
There's berries in there, and the bears and the deer just love those berries feeding in there. And we ended up glassing up quite a few bucks. Kody, we jumped that 3x3, that 2x2, and that doe had jumped out. And
things were being a little skittish. I mean, for as many deer as we were seeing, they definitely were. I mean, even 300-400 yards out, they were pegging on us. I mean, they were.
Yeah, it wasn't just wasn't close the distance, be aggressive, walk right into them. I mean, they were on the move a lot of times.
Yeah. And we had the weather changing some. The wind was howling pretty good.
Yeah.
Starting to rain a little bit.
Yeah, as we got to the top, the wind was blowing, which I think would appear to be 20, 25 miles an hour at least.
At least,
from our standpoint. So, what would that be? How many knots would that be, Brandon? 20, 25 miles an hour?
It's right around 25, 26 knots.
Okay. Yeah, so fairly consistent there. And anyway, so we glassed up a nice 2x3, and he was pushing some does just up on the hill, and we kind of were talking about it. Who's going to shoot, who wants to shoot. I was looking at Mike saying, Mike, here's your opportunity. And he looked at me and said, hey, you should kill that buck. And so we did.
Yep.
Yeah, we got his cannon set up, and it was an interesting shot because the deer was actually at the top of the ridge itself, and we were at the bottom. So it was a very steep angled shot, which is logistically tough because you have to be able to prone out and try to shoot like that, but B, also the compensation for the angle and obviously the wind that we had, which you figured pegged to be 25-30 miles an hour is what you kind of charted.
Yep.
So Mike's got one of those fancy rifles that's got all the dials and clickers and turrets and no dots on the reticle, and
had some practice on it and knew just what to do with the wind, and dialed it right in, and here you go, make the shot.
Dialed it right in. I sunk that rifle in and had the stock sitting right in the back of my shoulder, and I could see him in the scope. It was raining, so the scope was kind of getting visibility was a little tough, but it was about a 398, 400 yard shot is about what we ranged him at, and just told you guys I'm going to send one, so I did, and just smacked him. I couldn't see it through the scope what happened, but I know you guys were watching and saw the clean shot, and I think within 5 seconds he was on his back rolling. Legs were in the air, so that was pretty cool to hammer down on 2 bucks in one day. I wasn't expecting that whatsoever, but was definitely happy with that outcome. And we got up, we hiked to the top, and Mike and I found him. Kody went and pushed a couple more deer, was looking for another deer, and it was just a pretty surreal experience to be basically on the top of the world, in my opinion, looking down, see the ocean on 3 sides, and sitting there with another buck. It was pretty cool.
Well, pretty good capper for an amazing week, really.
Yeah.
I mean, and what a day too. Just that day in general, just going from having that bear right on us to be able to put 2 deer on the ground and be up on that mountain with something else today. But yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, it's quite fitting. A little cherry on the top for Luke.
Yeah, no, it was good.
It's good.
I wasn't counting my eggs before they hatched, but I was getting a little concerned that I was going to leave here without any meat in the box, and now I'm going to figure out if I can get it all in one box. Hopefully, I might need 2 boxes.
We got the most deer now than anybody.
But so we drug 5 deer off the mountain, this last week.
Yep. And just had a beautiful rainbow on the way down. Gorgeous rainbow.
Yeah.
Saw some bald eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of diversity of wildlife out here.
Yeah. And just, I mean, talk about diversity in the weather, too. I mean, 1 minute the sun's shining and it's beautiful and blue sky, and the next minute you get a cloud blow in and you're just pouring rain and you're throwing your rain gear on.
All over the place.
And then you're going up, when you head up the mountain, you take your rain gear off because you get hot. And then, it's incredible how the weather changes on this island.
Yeah, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes.
It's something different.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like from your standpoint, Brandon, I mean, you guys live and die by forecast weather, or what it's doing every 30 minutes, every hour, and looking at the forecast, because it's so important for you guys to understand the conditions so you can get your hunters or your anglers in the right positions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, marine forecast and aviation forecast is the best thing to go off of, and it's just like your Channel 4 weatherman. They're not always right, but the hope is that most of the time they are. So, we look at the direction of the wind and how strong it is, and we base the day and the night off of that and try to hide the best we can, especially transporting out here in Kodiak, because we're on the boat 7 days a week, so
sure.
Making sure you're in the right cove, the right bay is crucial for a good night's sleep.
Sure.
Captain just throttled down.
Oh yeah,
must be getting close to Larson Bay here.
Larson Bay it is. So boys, I guess we can kind of conclude or do our little concluders, but what an awesome week, huh? There was a couple times where I just sat and even in the rain, just sit there and just look where you're at, and it's just
every direction. It's amazing.
Pretty incredible place. And there wasn't a place even for the areas that we hiked up that were kind of a pain, which, at the end of the day, hunting's never easy, right? If they called it killing, it wouldn't be any fun. But it was always just seemed like when you got to the point where you wanted to be, just how, beautiful every direction when you looked, just incredible landscape here.
What a crazy place that one moment you can be having a bear run you down, and next minute you're glassing a blacktail, and the next minute you glass over and there's a pod of killer whales ripping through the bay, and you're like, I was just glassing deer 2 seconds ago and now I'm glassing killer whales. Like, that's not something you see on a lot of hunts or have a chance to. It's really, really unique.
Yeah, definitely stuff we wouldn't see in the States. Literally going from sea level up to 2,000 feet hunting deer. That's not really normal for most areas in the Rockies anyway, hunting wise. But Mike, what about you? What do you leave with, or what do you take away from a trip like this?
Just the natural beauty, reminding ourselves to slow down, soak it up, every day back in the lower 48, just work, go. And, we pushed hard here trying to get deer, but we would sit down for a while, glass things, just soak up, God's beautiful earth, what he made, what he created. It's just exceptionally beautiful. It's just, I'll remember it all.
Yeah. Got a lot of pictures, but the memory, what kind of blueprints in our mind is the things that we won't forget. Definitely an incredible place. What about you guys?
Yeah, Mike hit it on the head. It's just, when you're up here, you can't, think about anything else but just looking around and realizing this is just like God's backyard. It's just so amazingly vast, and so just everything about it is incredible.
Perfect. It's just perfect.
It really is perfect. It's, you just, to leave here is just going to be with some amazing thoughts and memories, and just, like always realizing that, like you say, pushing hard always pays off in the end, no matter what you get or don't. But also those times remembering to sit down and just soak it in. It's beautiful out there, just incredible what a week.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to sit and smell the roses, because you talk about getting back and going back to work and the hustle and bustle of everything, but then you think about, like, where was I a week ago? Oh, I was sitting on the top of a mountain in Kodiak, Alaska, and, probably maybe less than 0.5% of the world's population will ever be in that location in their lifetime. You know, it's just, that to me is the serene part about it, is most people will never, A, physically be able to, or B, ever come to this island to see some of the vastness of this island, which is, I think everyone should have that opportunity to do that, but you know, it's just not on everybody's on their list to do. So what about you, big buck killer? He wins the big buck competition.
Yeah.
Got the boys here pumping him all day today about it.
Felt spoiled. Yeah, his journey started a year ago. Luke, you told me about it.
Yeah.
Of course, I hemmed and hawed. Can you afford it? Can you not? Man, I walk away here with just amazing amount of memories and something I get to share with my brother and Cody, long time friend, and Mike. I hope we get to hunt again someday soon. From the fishing to the hunting to the being catered here on the boat, Brandon and Johnny did a wonderful job. I spent a couple days fishing while the boys were hunting, you know, trying to do my part to bring home some fish so everyone could take some home, and just inspired. This was definitely out of my comfort zone. It's probably out of a lot of our comfort zones coming to Kodiak, Alaska. I don't think many people, you don't know what to expect. I came with no expectation, and I walk away with just in awe of everything that's here, and just the beauty and the nature, and yeah, we're all able to be successful. We all walk away with some deer and fish in our hands, and I don't know when the next time we're going to do it again, but you know, sign me up. This was pretty rad. So
yeah, I think you learn to have a different level of respect too for these mountains, and you know, because I mean, I've hunted all over the world. I've hunted in New Zealand, hunted all over the Rockies, and it's like it, but it's not. You know, it's just I mean, Cody, you've hunted a lot across the world too, and it's
the numbers don't. You couldn't even throw numbers around the same way, because people might, you know, the way you throw around 1,000 feet elevation back home is.
Oh yeah, we do that in an hour, right?
Yeah,
I mean, you can pop up that 30 minutes to an hour.
Just a quick little push over, you know, and here 1,000 feet will just about break you. It's a different kind of.
Yeah, we were doing about 500 foot an hour in that thick stuff that one day.
Yeah, it's humbling. I mean, it's crazy that you could have vegetation that grows like that, that's so thick and so high, and it's like you take one step forward, you take 3 steps back the whole time. But
I'm always amazed when you can be fighting through something that's just so miserable, and then you end up going through like 3 other different layers, and by the time you're into those layers, they're so much even more miserable. You're thinking about the first one you're in, and you're like, man, I wish I could go back to that, and you're actually wishing for the stuff that was just terrible, because it's so much less terrible than the stuff that you're in.
Yeah,
it's pretty amazing.
Well, I think for me, obviously this trip has been, you know, awesome to share it with everyone on the boat, and obviously meeting new friends, coming kind of as clients, leaving as friends. That's kind of what's cool about these trips is you meet people and you make friends, and but I think for me a lot of it was, you know, being able to have this opportunity with my brother to come and do a trip like this, which means a lot to me, because this is the kind of stuff I like to do, and it's fun to share that with him. But also just kind of reconnecting with you, Cody. I mean, we've been friends. Our families have been friends since we were in diapers, you know, and we've been through a lot together. Floods, fires, what else? You name it.
Everything.
Multiple fires, homes burning down, shops burning down, sleeping in your guys' house when our house was, you know, flooded out, and just a lot of memories we've shared over the years, and it's cool that it's like you and I never even missed a beat, you know?
Just coming full circle again.
Yeah, coming back and hunting Kodiak Island. And
life got busy for a while there, and we got a little separated, but no, it's just like back to old times.
Yeah. We've already got a trip planned next year.
Many more to come.
Go moose hunting back here in Alaska next year. So keep
excited.
checking the box, and yeah, hopefully one day we all can get back to Kodiak and do this again. It would be a privilege and an honor to do that. I know, to do it with you guys again. So
Great little reunion trip.
yeah. Brandon, any comments about us? Any thoughts? I mean, you can lay it out on the line here if you want, man. It's all good.
Good work this week, guys. You guys, we get some people, if it's raining, they don't get off the boat after day 2, and 2,000 feet, they're sore and they might not have anything and they don't get off the boat. So you guys hit it every single day, and, props to you, whether it was rain or sunny. You guys got out there and got her done. So not everyone can say that. Everyone comes out here and has their own expectations and what they want to accomplish on this trip, and you guys went out there and put in the effort and pulled some beautiful animals for sure. Beautiful bucks.
Yeah. So 26 years old, he cooks. He'd make a great housewife. I told you we'd give dating advice on this podcast.
Hey, that's it. We don't need you to be a millionaire. We just decent income, stable.
Just the minimal
paid.
things.
That's it.
No, I tell you, it was a lot of fun breaking bread and sharing time on the boat with you guys. And like I say, thanks for keeping us safe. There were times that, we probably got a little flustered and a little high maintenance, but we knew at the end it was for our own safety and benefit. So we appreciate you guys looking out for us and taking good care of us while we were here. So
yeah, for sure. And you guys are welcome to come out anytime.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
We'll probably do it again.
Got to give a shout out. Jake Paugh turned 13 years old.
That's right. 10-10 yesterday.
10-10.
Nephew Jake. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to talk to him, but we'll get a hold of him when we get back on the mainland. So
Way to go, Jake.
yeah, so we're wrapping up the trip. We're on our way into Larson Bay. We're gonna probably dock in there tonight, get a good night's rest, get some meat packaged up tonight, frozen. Wake up tomorrow, pack, and say our goodbyes, and head back to Kodiak City, where then we'll even probably split even more from living together and breathing the same air and sharing the same meals. And
better get one more breakfast.
Yeah, we got oatmeal planned for you in the morning. Do a little salt water in there.
attaboy.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys. This has been a great trip and memorable, and glad we could take a few minutes to share some of our stories. And obviously, this will get put on the platforms, and people listen to it, and we can listen to it in 5 years, 10 years, and hopefully within the next 5 years, we'll have another story to tell coming back and doing this again on Kodiak. So anyway, thanks again, guys.
Yep.
Appreciate you having here, Mike. It was great meeting you.
Likewise.
Going all the way back to Florida. I know if I ever get back to Florida, I'll have to come and visit.
Anytime. You guys are welcome. Anytime.
Yeah, that'd be
Do
awesome.
some gator hunting, get some lobster, fishing, whatever you guys want.
Boom.
And Brandon, if you ever get down to the States, which I know you do, and I know you've got family in Montana, we were talking the old JI Highline talk earlier, but if you're ever obviously in the States, California, Montana, give us a holler, man.
Yeah, for
Love to
sure.
have you.
I'll
Just
definitely keep that in mind.
come around, and even if it's just swing by and have a beer if you're in the area, that'd be great to catch up again. So
You got to let us know if anybody shoots a 4-point.
I'll be sure to let you know. I'll let you know. It's definitely one of the top 5 bucks I've seen in my 3 years of doing it. So, and that's excluding, the non-typical stag. So that a buck like that is rare, and you guys all did awesome, man. A 3x3 or better is the end game when you come here. After 3 years of watching people do this, some guys go home with no deer. Take 6 guys out, and it's all about right place, right time, and making the shot. So anyone that can get a deer is absolutely a bonus.
Brandon, if someone was to want to get a hold of Ninilchik Charters, could you maybe give a little plug for the company and kind of the best way someone, if they were to want to maybe book a hunt?
Yeah, so Ninilchik.com is the website, and you can email fishninilchik@gmail.com as well. We got Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. So we monitor all that. Shoot us a Facebook message, Instagram message, and we book out pretty quick for the Kodiak hunt. So definitely something you want to plan a year or 2 in advance.
Cool. All right, gentlemen. Kody, thanks again, man.
Hey,
thanks for coming along.
Thank you for the invite. I wouldn't be on this trip if it wasn't for you inviting me, so appreciate it.
Absolutely. We'll do it again.
Yes, sir. It's been real, boys.
All right, guys. Yep. Signing off.
Signing out of Kodiak.
In 3,
All right.
2, 1.
Leaving Kodiak Island.
We gone.
Out.
Hey everyone, this is Lucas Paugh, host of the RNA Outdoors podcast. Please check out Podbean and iTunes. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to the podcast app on your device, search for RNA Outdoors, and hit the purple subscribe button. When doing this, it will automatically upload when new podcasts are loaded, and they will download into your queue. For Android users, you can access the podcast through Podbean, Stitcher, or use our website, www.rnaoutdoors.com/podcast. In addition, under the RNA Outdoors podcast channel, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. These reviews help boost our popularity and outreach. You can also follow us on our social media outlets, Twitter at RNA Outdoors, Facebook, RNA Outdoors, and Instagram, Rod and Arrow Outdoors. All links are in the show notes as well. If you like what you've heard, we hope you'll pass along our channel to your friends and colleagues. Keep up the good fight. We cannot sit by and watch the public lands devoted to wildlife protection wither away. There's simply too much at stake. Make your voice heard, speak up, and get involved with conservation efforts, and know that every little bit helps. As we say on the mountain, go farther, stay longer.